All right, Utilities and Streets Committee is called to order. Councilman McLaughlin is not on yet. Oh, he is trying to call me, so wait one.
Hey, Joe,
Yes, sir.
can you bring my screen up first?
Yeah.
Yeah, slide 2 is going to introduce Mike and his for his presentation here.
All right, I'm back. He's going to be late. He's spinning up his computers, having some issues. So we're going to go ahead and start. And so without further ado, Mr. Ensman.
You're good. Utilities and Streets Committee meeting, March 11th, 2021. So this afternoon here, we're going to start off with the service line warranty program. We have a guest speaker, Mr. Mike Chambers of HomeServe, is with us today to discuss the utility service line warranty program. The warranty program is to help residents avoid unexpected costly repairs that may arise with their water service line or sewer laterals. Homeowners are responsible for their sewer laterals. That'd be the sewer pipe from the house to the sewer main, and the water service line, the water line from the house to the shutoff valve by the water main. And also here, we have bullet points stated that the Ohio Municipal League, OML, has endorsed the warranty program. A copy of the letter received by Mayor Shea from OML explaining the program is presented on the next slide as well. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor over to Mr. Mike Chambers to discuss the service line warranty program.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate everyone allowing me a few minutes here today to tell you a little bit about the program, how it can benefit the residents there. Give you a little bit of background. My name is Mike Chambers, and we are the administrators of the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program with HomeServe. And through basically a little background on how the program got started, the reason the National League of Cities has got involved with this type of program is they understand that infrastructure is getting older and older, especially when it comes to water and sewer lines. And one of the big issues is while the cities and municipalities are doing their part to maintain the main water and sewer lines that are in the street, you have these miles and miles of lines that connect to that system that really no one, it doesn't get a lot of attention until there's an issue. And that's the residents' lateral water and sewer lines. And a lot of times when the resident has a frozen water line, it breaks, or their sewer line gets clogged with tree roots, their first call's to the city. You guys will send someone out, make sure the lines in the street are working properly. 99% of the time, those lines are fine because you're doing the maintenance and upkeep on it. And now you're stuck to be the bearer of bad news, Mr. and Mrs. Resident. We found the problem. It's on your side of the property. You're going to have a contractor out here and have it repaired. And a lot of times residents can become upset because they don't even realize they're responsible for these buried lines until they have these issues. And even the residents that do realize they're responsible don't have the $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 it can cost to dig these up and repair it. So that's where our program comes in. First off, it's simply an educational program. We do a free public awareness campaign to all the residents, letting them know these water and sewer lines are their responsibility, give them some tips on how they can keep them working properly. And then secondly is give them a chance to transfer that risk from themselves over to the NLC program. You can go to the next slide, Joe. Now the nice part for the city, actually go to the next one too, Joe. I went over that one a little bit too. The nice part for the city, it's a fully turnkey program. We handle all the marketing, all the billing, all the customer service, all the claims. There's no cost or anything for the city to participate. And then we share a portion of all the revenue that's generated from the program back with the community. Now, and then next one, Joe. That's one. Now, for your residents, the nice part is it's a completely optional program. So if the city decides to participate in the program, it's not something the residents have to take. It's just something that's simply available to them. But if they do choose to enroll, we have coverage for 3 products for them: the external water line, the external sewer line, and then the in-home plumbing and drainage coverage. I think the next one will go over those ones. Actually, one more. I went a little too far in the beginning part. I think the next one will be good. There we go. So for the external water line coverage, we'll cover from the point where it enters the home all the way to where it connects to the curb stop or the shutoff. And this will cover anything from broken lines, leaking lines, slow running lines, basically any kind of disruption in their service. There's no deductible on this program. There's no service fees. We also don't do any pre-inspections, and there's no annual or lifetime limits. The sewer line coverage, that'll cover from the point where it enters the home all the way to where it connects to the main. And this will cover everything from a simple clean out, something gets flushed down there, or there's tree roots, it just needs to be rooted out, all the way up to fully replacing the line, even repairing any kind of concrete work or public street, public sidewalk, all that's covered for the residents as well. And once again, this one has, zero deductible, no service fees. We don't do any pre-inspections, and there's no annual or lifetime limits. Then the next one, sir, will be the in-home plumbing and drainage coverage. And this will just cover everything inside the house. So this will cover everything from toilets, faucets, all the internal plumbing, fresh water lines, and sewer lines. Once again, no deductible for this or any kind of service fees. Now, when the resident has an issue, all they have to do is make one call to us. We have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week US-based call center, and then we dispatch a local licensed plumber to make the repair. Now, that's another big benefit of the program as well, is we're only going to use contractors from there in the city to do the work. A couple of reasons we do that. First off, it helps to keep the dollars there locally in the community, but more importantly, we want to make sure these lines get fixed the way the city wants them to be repaired. So the local contractors, they're going to know what the codes are there. They're going to know what permits need to be pulled, and they're going to put everything back, to city specifications. Now, as for the way we market the program, it's all done through direct mail. We don't do any kind of telemarketing or door-to-door sales or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about your residents getting phone calls or anything from us. Typically twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, we'll mail that educational letter out to all the residents, letting them know, hey, these water and sewer lines are your responsibility, and all that sort of thing. Before that's ever mailed to your residents, so we provide it to the city. You have an opportunity to review it, make sure you're happy with all the language that's in it. Only once it's approved by the city will we go ahead and mail it to your residents, because it will say the National League of Cities and the city want to make you aware of this program. Now, currently, we have over 1,000 partners across the country. I think we have 32 there in the state of Ohio. They're partners, all ranging in sizes. Our largest one in Ohio is Akron and Dayton. We have them all the way down to some smaller partners as well. I think the closest one there to Shelby is actually Bucyrus, Ohio. They've been participating in our program since I think it was the fall of 2012, so they've been in it for a long time. Currently, the program has a 98% customer satisfaction rating. It has an A+ rating with a Better Business Bureau. And then actually twice in the past 6 years, we were awarded the Torch Award from the BBB, which is given for the top companies for business ethics. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's also a royalty aspect of the program as well. So the way that works is 50 cents per month per product that's sold will actually come back to the city. You guys can use those funds however you choose. Some of our more popular products, our programs that have been set up by our partners, is they'll put those funds in put their money in a fund for low-income families that might need help with their water or sewer bill. So there's funds available there. Others will put it back into an infrastructure project. So that's kind of up the city how you want to use those funds. But that's the main highlights of the NLC service line program, and I'd like to answer any questions for you on that.
Mike, can you explain the money that comes back to the city coffers again? How does that work?
So the products, the sewer line warranty runs $7.75 per month. The water line warranty is $5.75 per month, and then the plumbing is $9.99 per month. So of all those rates, 50 cents of that actually comes back to the city, and then that's up to you however you choose to use it. Like I said, you can put it in a fund or devote it to a project. One of my partners in Indiana actually uses it for their fall festival. So they use it for that, but a lot of them just set up, things that they're working on, a project to put into there.
Didn't you say that's optional to charge that 50 cents or?
That's correct. So about 80% of our communities that partner with us take the revenue, 20% will forego it. If the city decides that they don't want the revenue, you don't want to, have that, we would just deduct that cost for your residents. So instead of $775, it'd be, $7.25, $5.25, and then $9.49.
All right, are there any other questions?
Yeah, I think I do here. So with the charge, that is a charge to the customer, then the National City League would send that charge to the customer by invoice? Is that on the city utility bill, or how's that work?
No, for the service line program, John, that's all handled by us. We handle everything for you. We try to keep everything separate from the city. So
Okay.
that's the, we handle all the billing and all that sort of thing. If you guys decide to take the revenue at the end of the year, we'll produce a report that'll show everybody enrolled and all that, and then we'll forward that to you along with a check. But you also have access to those reports all throughout the year, so you can see who's enrolled, who the contractors are, that sort of thing.
Okay, so to implement the program with the city of Shelby, you would need some form of legislation authorizing the program to be implemented into the city?
Yeah, correct. If I sent you the agreement yet, John, I'm not sure if I did.
I think so. Yeah, I'd have to look
Yeah,
back
so-
in the notes here, but
Yeah, so the only thing the legislation basically does, like I said, the only really responsibility of the city is with the letter. We pay for everything, but we use your name in the letter, so we want to make sure you review it and approve it. And that's basically what the agreement aligns. Is nothing will ever be mailed to your residents without the city's prior approval. Whether you're going to take the revenue or not, that sort of thing. So the legislation just allows us to use your name in the marketing agreement.
okay. And what's the term?
The term, typical term is 3 years, but we can do whatever the city wants, 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year.
Okay. And a different term limit would not change the pricing for the residents?
No, sir. Yeah. And then the other thing too, I always get this question, what if you city decides they don't want to participate anymore? You can cancel the program, if you want. We will still stay there though, and any resident that's enrolled will still have contractors there to service all those residents. The only agreement between the city and the program is just for the mailings.
Okay. All right. See where we see that newsletter the mayor had from the Ohio Municipal League. So they have endorsed the program as well.
Correct. Yes. So it's endorsed by the NLC, and then the Ohio Municipal League has endorsed us in 2018. So we've been endorsed there for a couple of years as well.
Okay. So and it's optional for the residents. You're
That's
not
correct.
opted in. You have to sign up for the program.
Yeah, we'll do the mailing, and then at the bottom of the mailing, there's a little tear off they can send back in. We give them a self-addressed paid envelope. They can mail those in and enroll in the program. They can also call. We have a 24-hour day hotline that they can call and ask questions, or they can go online and enroll as well. And then the nice part for residents too is there's no contract or anything for them to sign, so it's not like they have to pay the program for a year before it's useful. When the resident enrolls after 30 days, then they have full access to their warranty, and then they can cancel at any time. So if they paid a year in advance and they cancel a couple months into the program, we'll refund them anything that they haven't used.
All right, I know as myself and Mr. Geis, we received the oops notices that come in for the community. We see quite a few notices for sewer lateral repair or water service line repair. I just received a call earlier this week. Somebody had a sewer lateral that assumed it was plugged, so we had to call the crews out to make sure if it wasn't the main or such. So,
Right.
yeah, I know what you're talking about there. We definitely see and hear that frequently. So
Yeah, it's becoming more and more. I think in the last 3 years, the last numbers I saw in our company, I think we've fixed over 1.2 million lines across those thousands of cities that we work with. And it's over $4 million that we paid to repair them. So.
yeah. Okay. Well, very good.
All right, sir. Well, yeah, all my information's there as well. So as you guys digest this, if you have any questions, reach out to me and I'm happy to answer them for you.
Very good.
Hey, Mike, what is a typical percentage of, say, customers, say there are 5,000 customers in the
Yeah.
city? What's your percentage? 40,
So we
30?
kind of, yeah, we've kind of seen the same, no matter, what the size of the city is. The first time we mail to your community, about 8 to 10% of the homeowners will enroll. After those 3 years, it's typically somewhere between 25 and 35% that are participating in the program. It also depends too on, how big the issue is there in your community. I know one of my Ohio communities, Harrison, Ohio, they're near Cincinnati. They've had, tons of problems there. So I think, we have over 70% of their residents that are enrolled in the program. Basically somebody on a
Wow.
saw their line get dug up and they're like, wow, I just had mine. And next thing you know, whole streets are signing up for the program. So all depends on the community, but typically it's about 35% after 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. I'm enjoyed the presentation. Nathan or Steve, is there any other questions from the committee?
Not for me.
All right, very good. Mike, I appreciate you coming on today with us. Very nice. And we'll have some internal conversations.
Sounds good. Hey, I appreciate the time from everyone. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, let me know.
We do. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
All right, Joe, we can bring up the PowerPoint.
There we go.
Yeah, I have it here as well. If I just want to pull mine up, I won't see you guys, but. Do we pull mine up?
No, I got it.
Okay, there you go. Okay, ready to move forward here, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry. Move forward. Okay. Review of the generation rate. So that's the next discussion for today. So generation rate is one of the components in the energy charge on the electric bill that influences the cost per kilowatt hour. The rate is designed to cover the expenses for the operation and maintenance of the diesel generators, cover the labor and associated cost, diesel fuel testing, EPA permitting, maintenance and repairs, and et cetera. The rate has been reviewed and adjusted several times over the last few years. Previous electric cost studies and rate reviews performed by energy consultants have helped establish a rate platform that allows the rate to be reviewed and adjusted as needed. The current generation rate is at 0.0045. It was last adjusted in June of 2020. It's kind of halfway through the year that we made the adjustment. So January 2020 through May of 2020, the generation rate was 0.0055. From June 2020 through December 2020, the generation rate was lowered to 0.0045. Go next slide here, Joe. So along with this, the generation expenses associated with the manufacturing and maintenance of the operation of the generators, expenses, labor and associated costs, diesel fuel, the testing, EPA permits, maintenance, repairs, et cetera. The total expenses for 2020 come to approximately $287,745.22. So, Joe, could you go back a slide there? Yeah, that would. Can you go back to 4? We skipped one. Go to 4. There you go. Don't go back. There you go. Hit 5. There you go. All right, I'm going to go back a slide here. So going back to the revenue side of things. So the revenue collected from the generation year in 2020, we collected $464,422.15. This was based on the kilowatt hours sold per our billing journal. The rate calculator you use the kilowatt hours sold, which was 94,574,311 kilowatt hours. You take it times the generation rate, and that's going to get your collection. So you see the example there for the 12 months. If you look at January through May, January, I'll give you an example there. January is 8,125,573 kilowatt hours sold. It times that by 0.0055. The number to the right there, the 44,690.65. That's the revenue that's collected for the generation charge. So if you look at January through May, you'll scroll down and you'll see the the kilowatt hours sold by month. You take it times the generation rate, 0.0055. Right hand column over there, you'll see the collection per month. Then you'll see come June, we reduced the rate by ordinance to 0.0045, and you can see the reduction in the collection process. End of the year, January through December 2020, again, the total kilowatt hours sold for the year, 94,574,311 kilowatt hours sold. Take it to the far right-hand side, the total collection for the generation charge is $464,422.15. So those are going to be kind of important to remember as we go through the next couple of slides here. So especially the 464, 422.15. That was the collection, again, for the generation charge in fiscal year 20. So next slide here, Joe. So again, I'm going to go over this again. So
John,
comparing
real quick, John, can I
Yes.
ask a question real quick?
Absolutely.
A kilowatt hour, is that typically like the burning of a 100-watt bulb for 1 hour?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, a typical consumption at the house would be about 1,000 kilowatt hours a month on average, thereabouts. That's a typical home's consumption, be 1,000 kilowatts per month.
Okay, so one kilowatt hour is burning 100, one light bulb that's 100 watts for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we kind of covered the revenue. Now we're going to be looking at the expenses for the that we had on the generation side. So what did it cost to operate the generator? So we collected the money, but what did it cost us to operate and maintain the generator? So generation expenses associated with the manufacturing and maintenance for the operation of the generators. Again, looking at labor, associated costs, the health benefits and such, the diesel fuel, the testing, EPA permitting, the maintenance and repairs, and et cetera. So in fiscal year 2020, the expenses came out to approximately $287,745.22. So right below that, you'll see the financial review for fiscal year 2020. Collections was $464,422.15. Expenses came in at $287,745.22. We have a difference on the positive side, $176,676.93. A little asterisk next to that is because expenses can change from year to year from variable operation and maintenance requirements. Again, we get different years bringing different fuel consumption, different testing, different operating hours. What units are going to be available to us? Do we have one down for maintenance? Do we purchase a new unit, bring another one online, such as that? So the next bullet there, you'll see consistent historical expense data is limited as the generation lineup has changed over the last several years, but the review provides a viable representation. So if you're kind of looking at what we have in front of us today, this is a snapshot of last year, but it's pretty indicative to what we've seen in previous years. That's the reason why we continue to lower the generation rate. Over the last several years, we've been watching this very carefully. Every year we do an annual review, and we continue to reduce the generation charges, the rate. So, Joe, can you go to the next slide? So review of the generation rate. The annual review is indicating the cost of service for the operation and maintenance of the generating units is lower than the current collection. Several variables that influence the annual collection from the generation rate. Again, the kilowatt hours sold play a part into how much we collect. So if more kilowatt hours is sold, you're going to be collecting more. If you have less kilowatt hours sold, you're going to be collecting less. So historical kilowatt hours sold have been fairly consistent. We have been lower over the last 2 years. And last year, you'll see here in the next slide or so, was the lowest we've had in the last 5 years, and it was COVID related. The generation rate annual reviews continue to tighten the rate compared to the expenses. And the operating and maintenance cost varies year by year due to the number of units. We've actually have done a fantastic job of building our units, with additional units that we've purchased. And no changes are forecasted for the year 2021. So our current lineup is what we've have going forward into this year. So in a review of the generation collections compared to the expenses to operate and maintain the generating units, there appears to be room to reduce the current generation rate. A lower rate would reduce the collection to bring the needed revenues to operate and maintain the generators more in line with the expenses. Okay, Joe. So this slide's going to show us the review of the generation rate. So historical kilowatt hours sold over the last 5 years. We started 16. 97,472,208 kilowatt hours sold. 2017, 94,753,643 kilowatt hours sold. 2018, 98,539,929 kilowatt hours sold. 2019, 95,731,963 kilowatt hours sold. In 2020, you see we dropped to 94,574,311 kilowatt hours sold. So if I'm looking at these last 5 years, I'm going to take the average of this, averaging everything out, we're at 96,214,411 kilowatt hours on a 5-year average. So you can see the max in 2018. That was temperature related. That was the year we sold over 98.5 million kilowatt hours. Minimum kilowatt hours sold was last year in 2020. Over the last 5 years, that was down to 94.6 million kilowatt hours sold. So that was COVID related.
All right, John.
Yes,
John,
sir.
help me with this. Aren't more people staying at home during COVID?
They are. But yeah, this is a representation of the larger consumers that were idled or shut down during the COVID. That's what you're seeing there.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah, you think with residential, the residentials were up, but the commercial and industrial were down. If you think of some of the businesses there on Main Street that were shut down, some of the restaurants that were open, but not allowing those to come in, patrons to come in to frequent the restaurant and such. So that's what you're seeing there. You're seeing a reduction based off of more commercial and industrial usage. So just looking at comparing the month of January over the last 5 years to 2021. And again, the reason why I'm only using like 1 month out of the 12, because we do not have our figures yet for February billing. February billing usually comes mid-March for the previous month. So the only month I have to compare in 2021 to previous years is the very first month. But it's encouraging to see if you take a look at January in 2021, this year, the kilowatt hours sold is the second highest in the last 5 years. So if you look at 2016, it's 8.3 million, 2017, 8.6 million, 2018, 9.5 million, 2019, 8.6 million, and 2021, round up to 8.4 million. So if you look at 2018 here at the bottom, if I'm comparing just January, if I'm comparing Januaries over the last 5 years, and we scroll to the earlier page where I'm looking at historically for the year, a 5-year look back, 2018 started out 9.5 million. And if I go back up to the full 2018, you can see that was the highest year of those 5 years. So if the trend holds true, we're going to recover very nicely on the electric side. And I can also say that the water and sewer consumption is also up this year by reports for the last couple of months. So we're seeing a recovery economic side when it comes to the utilities. So I think it's kind of important to kind of point that out. So trend wise, again, it's a snapshot of 1/12 of the year, but if it holds true compared to the upper part of the slide here, where 2018 kind of rules the amount of kilowatt hours, we're trending towards that again. So, all right, let's go 9 here, Joe. Thanks. So examples of a proposed reduced generation rate and the estimated revenue based on the average kilowatt hour sold over the last 5 years. So again, I'm looking at those 5-year look back, and I'm taking the average of those numbers. So the average kilowatt hour sold based on those last 5 years was 96,214,411 kilowatt hours. So I'm going to kind of break this down for us. So again, at last year in 2020, we had 2 different generation rates. So January through May, the generation rate was a 0.0055. So if I'm looking at the kilowatt hours sold between January to May, it's 38,837,755 kilowatt hours times the 0.0055 generation rate. Revenue brought in was $213,607.65. If you come down for the June through December in 2020, the generation rate was reduced. So we used 55,736,566 kilowatt hours. Take that times the generation rate of 0.0045, that total come to $250,814.50 for a grand total of $464,422.15. So in 2020, again, we collected $464,422.15. So
John, where do you want that number to be though? So we collected 464,000, but where do you want that number to? Where's a 0 or what?
Nope, that's where we're going to flow right into this, Steve. So
Okay.
if we look at right below this now, the current generation rate, if we didn't do anything with the rate, and again, I have to use the average number because I don't know exactly where we're going to end up at the end of the year for a kilowatt hour sold. So I'm using an average number here of the last 5 years. So current generation rate, if we use the average number of kilowatt hours sold at 96,214,411 kilowatt hours sold times the 0.0045, our collection is going to be $432,695, in that ballpark range. So if we're proposing to reduce this, you can see what I've done here. I've given 4 examples of what this would look like. So again, using the average kilowatt hour, 96.2 million, times 0.0040, you can see it reduces the revenue to 384,858. Then you'll see coming down from there again, if we reduce it to 0.0039 with 375,236. 0.0037, revenue is going to be 355,993. And again, these are not exact numbers, guys. These are projected numbers. So then if we look at what 0.035 is going to bring in, is 336,750. So I think we have to take a look at, do we want to reduce this? Is it, if we have the ability to reduce the generation rate, the numbers in front of us today are indicating that there is room to reduce the generation rate to the ratepayers. So what's important to see here, because what I'm going to bring in is for the year 2021, the proposed appropriations for the operation and maintenance for the generation units, and that's if we look at these 600 manufacturing, 600 maintenance line items, those appropriations total to $396,400. So in that manufacturing maintenance, I have to back out the $9.5 million for the purchase power. I'm looking at everything within the manufacturing and maintenance lines, backing out the purchase power, and that's how I drive to that $396,400. So and if we take a look at, let's see, Joe, go to the next slide, see if it's on there. Yeah, this would be good. All right, so if the committee desires to entertain a proposed rate reduction, a recommended rate collection would be to cover approximately or at least 90% of the appropriations for the operation and maintenance, again, minus the purchase power. So if we have a appropriations that is going to council on Monday for approval, we're going to be looking at the generation is going to assume the appropriations for $396,400. If you take it times 90%, is $356,760. And you're going to ask why 90%? 90% is a typical year. If we budget the 396,400, typically we'd spend about 90% of the budget. So last year, the manufacturing side, I think the expenditures come to 90.1%, and the maintenance was like 80% of what we appropriated for the year. So that's the reason why I use 90%. That's always just kind of been a rule of thumb or ballpark idea of typical year, you usually about 90% of the budget. So that's the reason why I use that 90%. So I would say at least cover, if you want to reduce it. And again, this is probably going to collecting more than what we have, that we need. But if you look at 2020, because expenses were 287, 745, and 22 cents. And I'm very open to discussion here with this. If we want to go lower, we can go lower. If we want to keep it the same, we can keep it the same. But I just wanted the committee to see that there is room to reduce the generation rate. That way we are not collecting more than what we need. And it'll provide it's a nice little reduction. I guess a couple slides here that's going to show what it would kind of a reduction would look like, the savings would look like for those using 1,000 kilowatt hours a month, or say the high end of 450,000 kilowatt hours, like on a large industrial side. So this example would propose a generation rate between 0.0040 to 0.0037. So if you go to the next slide here, Joe. Yeah, okay, so a proposed generation rate reduction from 0.045 to 0.040 reduces the annual collection by approximately 48,000 when using the average annual kilowatt hours sold. So again, the average annual is 96.2 million kilowatt hours times 0.0045. That gives us that 432,965. If you compare that to the average kilowatt hours times 0.0040, it's going to be the collection is going to be 384,858. So the estimated reduction for the annual collection would be about $48,000, 48,107 according to this. So if you scroll down through there, you'll see that the estimated annual savings per 1,000 kilowatt hours at a residential rate of 50 cents a month, about $6 a year. Again, there's about 4,200 residential customers, thereabouts. So if you look at on the high end of this, an estimated annual savings for an industrial customer using 450,000 kilowatt hours at the industrial rate is about $225 savings per month. Times 12 months is about $2,700 they'd be saving. So on the next slide, we'll get a little more aggressive with the reduction there. So if we propose a generation rate reduction from 0.045 to 0.037, reduces the annual collection by approximately 77,000 when using the average annual kilowatt hour sold. So again, 96.2 million kilowatt hours sold times 0.0045, 432,965. If you take 96.2 million times the 0.037, the collection is going to be 355,993. So the estimated annual collection is going to be reduced by about $76,972. So, and that's getting closer. Again, last year we used about 287,000. This would collect about 355. So we have room to move. And again, I gave some examples to the committee that we kind of think about where we want to go with this. We can get a little more aggressive. We can be more conservative with this. Again, rule of thumb, using 90% is what you use as your budget. Last year we used, again, 90% on the manufacturing side and 80% on the maintenance side. So if we're looking at the estimated annual savings per 1,000 kilowatt hours by a residential rate, it's 80 cents savings per month, or $9.60 for the year. And estimated annual savings on one of our large industrial customers using 450,000 kilowatt hours at the industrial rate, $360 savings per month. You take it times 12 is $4,320 annual savings. So a little over 4,300. So again, we have there's some room for a lot of room for discussion here. Again, I just gave some examples, kind of want to get some feel for the committee here to see if we want to reduce the rate. Do we?
So
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
So my, my thought is let's go ahead and reduce it, but to the 0.0040. I don't want to take big swings and then have to possibly deal with it later if we go above average kilowatt hour purchase.
Right. Yeah, that's the reason why I gave the examples. Joe, can you scroll up here again? I forget what slide that's on. You just have to go up here a little bit. That way we can kind of see the 0040. There you go. Yeah, so it'd be the proposed generation rate, the first proposed rate, 0040. So that's, again, using that 96.2, that's an average number of the 5. I'm not quite sure where we're going to fall into the 5-year, but this is just kind of looking at the last 5 years, calculating the average out. I think we're going to be close to this, just by the, again, looking at the 1/12 where we're at right now. How many kilowatt hours we sold so far this year. So yeah, I mean, we could kind of tear off and we could land real close to this, but I think we're in the ballpark of the projected kilowatt hours sold. So, okay.
I'm with Nathan on that. 0.004.
Okay, sounds good. Very good. All right. So the committee, would you like for me to write legislation for this and get prepared for the April 1st council meeting?
Yes, and I'll sponsor.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay. Right, the next slide. I was hoping to present some of this today. I'm still finalizing some of these numbers. I want to make sure I'm going to give you some accurate numbers on this. So next month, we're going to be discussing the transmission and capacity savings from the operation of the behind the meter generators. Transmission and capacity savings from the generators. We do have several units in town. We have 1800 kW. We call it the PGS1. It's located at Progress Drive Generation Station. We have another 1800 kW unit that is labeled as the PGS2. That's located at the Progress Drive Generation Station. We have an 1800 kW unit sitting at the wastewater treatment plant. We have a 500 kW diesel unit sitting at the water treatment plant. There's a JV2 unit. We have 1800 of kW operational abilities here in town. The total JV2 partnership that we have is 2,536 kW. But this unit here, the 1800 unit, is located out at the electric and communications grounds. And of course, we also have the Shelby Solar Array for the 1800 kW units sitting here on State Street. So the numbers look very promising. We are doing some review on this as well, but I want to make sure my numbers are correct before I present this to the committee. But with the promising numbers, as we discussed before, we might want to start entertaining either battery storage, expanding on the solar array, or looking at some natural gas units as well, because the savings is quite impressive. So
Let's do all three.
I'm with you. I think it'd be nice.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you. So what I have right now, I'm waiting for the appropriations to be approved by council. I have a contractor waiting for right requisition for this, but we're going to be reviewing battery storage to see how that will play into our generation lineup. Mayor Shea and I had a conversation this week also about additional solar. We're kind of entertaining that thought from previous conversation. So, and the location that we purchased years ago for the Progress Drive Generation Station, that design out there has, again, it was purposely bought with the know of knowing that the natural gas transmission line is in front of that property, and on the side of that property is an intermediate line in which you've already entertained with Columbia Gas to tap into that line for natural gas units. So once I get these numbers over to the committee, hopefully next month, you're going to see some impressive numbers of what the savings are. Let's hope we're bringing the cost per kilowatt down. If we did not have the generators, the cost per kilowatt would be probably bring it up a cent, maybe even more. So maybe even more than that. So it's an impressive number. So I'm going to get a confirmation on those numbers before I present it to the committee next month. So.
Perfect.
So, okay, very good. I'll get some legislation going here for the reduction of the generation charge. I'll keep working on the transmission capacity savings information and present it to the committee next month, and it's all good.
All right.
Hard work.
Absolutely. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I appreciate the conversation and look into the generation charge. It's good news. Good news for our
Any other
ratepayers.
questions? Councilman McLaughlin, you got any questions?
No, sir.
All right. So John, do you have anything else?
I do not.
All right. So with that, we are adjourned. See you guys.
Very nice.